On April 16th, 2026, my daughter-in-law opened the door and said, "It opened last Tuesday. We only invited our closest people." I'm Rachel Winfield. I'm 62 years old. I stood there holding a $70 bottle of Dom Perignon champagne and a vintage poster from my first documentary film. I'd invested $500,000 in that restaurant, $500,000 that I'd saved over 40 years of making films. I looked at Vanessa Brooks, my son's wife, standing in designer athletic wear with her iPhone clutched like a weapon, and I said, "I see." Then I smiled, turned around, and walked back to my car. I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I didn't beg for an explanation, because I'm not that kind of woman anymore. What I did next? Well, you won't believe how this story ends. My name is Rachel Winfield. Before we go any further, let me tell you who I am, because this story won't make sense otherwise. I was born in 1964 in Oakland, California, to parents who believed in two things: education and documentation. My father was a photographer for the Oakland Tribune. My mother was a teacher. They taught me that truth matters and that the camera never lies, if you know how to use it right. I've been making documentary films for 40 years. Started when I was 22, fresh out of UC Berkeley with a journalism degree and a used 16mm camera my father gave me. My first film was about the Black Panther breakfast programs. Won a small award at a film festival nobody's heard of. But I was hooked. Over 4 decades, I documented everything: pension fraud in Milwaukee, housing discrimination in Chicago, labor organizing in Detroit. 2 Emmy nominations. Never won, but that's okay. The work mattered more than the awards. I married Marcus Winfield in 1986. He was a civil rights attorney, brilliant, kind, dedicated. We had 2 children, Maya, born in 1988, and Jordan, born in 1992. Marcus died 3 years ago. Stroke. Sudden. He was only 59. The grief nearly broke me. But I survived it. Women like me always do. Now let me tell you about my children before we get to the main event. Maya, 38 years old, is an architect in Seattle. Sharp as a tack, independent, calls me every Sunday without fail. She's married to a good man named David, and they have 2 beautiful children. Jordan, 34 years old, is, or was, the light of my life. A chef, talented, passionate, creative. He went to the Culinary Institute of America, graduated with honors, worked in some of the best kitchens in San Francisco before moving back to Portland. 3 years ago, he met Vanessa Brooks. She was 30 then, beautiful, white. From somewhere in the Midwest, she was always vague about her past. Worked as a hospitality consultant, whatever that meant. Jordan fell hard. Proposed after 8 months. They were married at City Hall with just a handful of people present. I was there, of course. Smiled, took photos, welcomed her into our family. But something about Vanessa always felt calculated. The way she watched people. The way she smiled just a half-second too late. The way she touched Jordan's arm when she wanted something, her fingers light as a bird landing. Still, I said nothing. Jordan was happy. That was enough. Or so I thought. If you're listening from somewhere far away, drop your city in the comments so I can see how far this has traveled. And please, stay with me until the end. Because what happened next changed everything. Not just for me, but for my entire family. April 16th, 2026. A Thursday. Afternoon sun warm on my shoulders as I drove through northeast Portland toward my son's house. I'd been waiting 3 weeks for this moment. 3 weeks since Jordan came to my house on Hawthorne Boulevard and told me the restaurant was almost ready to open. 3 weeks of checking my phone every few hours for the invitation. 3 weeks of imagining walking into Harvest and Rye, the restaurant I'd helped fund, and seeing my son's dream finally come alive. I'd bought the champagne 2 weeks ago. Dom Perignon. Vintage 2013, $70 at the wine shop on Division Street. I'd also had a poster made, a vintage-style print featuring a still from my first documentary, the one about the Black Panther breakfast programs. On the bottom, I'd had them print, "To Jordan, dreams take courage. Love Mama, April 2026. Sentimental maybe, but I'm 62 years old. I've earned the right to be sentimental about my children. Jordan's house is in the Beaumont neighborhood. A small craftsman bungalow with a front porch and overgrown rhododendrons. He and Vanessa had bought it 2 years ago with help from both their families. I'd contributed $15,000 toward the down payment. I parked on the street, grabbed the champagne and poster tube, walked up the cracked concrete path to the front door, knocked 3 times. The door opened before I could knock a 4th time. Vanessa stood there, head-to-toe designer athletic wear, Lululemon, I think, though I'm not good with brands. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a perfect ponytail, iPhone in her right hand. Her eyes landed on the champagne bottle in my right hand, then the poster tube under my left arm. Something shifted in her expression. Not warmth, not welcome, recognition. The kind you give a stranger who's lost. Rachel? Not a greeting. A statement. Behind her, I could see into the open-plan living room. Shopping bags clustered by the stairs. At least 6 or 7 of them. I recognized the logos even from 15 feet away. Nordstrom, Saks Fifth Avenue, Neiman Marcus. The kind of bags that come with tissue paper and ribbon. Where's Jordan? I kept my voice light, celebratory. I wanted to catch him before the restaurant opening. I've been checking my phone for the invitation, but I figured I'd just stop by. I stopped. Her face had gone carefully blank. The kind of blank that means something. I've been filming people for 40 years. I know that look. I've captured it 100 times on camera. It means, you don't know, do you? When's the grand opening? I asked. I've been waiting for the date. I want to help set up, meet the staff, maybe bring my old film equipment to document the first night. It was last Tuesday. The words hung there in the afternoon air. Last Tuesday, April 8th, 8 days ago. I watched her face. No apology, no embarrassment, just that careful blankness. I'm sorry, what? The opening, last Tuesday. We kept it small, only the closest people. The champagne bottle grew warm in my hand. $70 getting warmer by the second. 6 bags. 7 maybe. The tissue paper kind that comes with a smile and a credit card warning. I'd paid for a restaurant. Apparently, I'd also paid for a Nordstrom shopping spree. Diversified investment, I suppose. Closest people, I repeated slowly. I gave you $500,000. And we're grateful. She leaned against the doorframe, relaxed like we were discussing weather. But it's our business, Rachel. Your money doesn't make you a partner. I set the poster tube carefully against the porch railing. My hands needed something to do besides shake. I'm his mother, and this is his restaurant. His dream, not yours. I paid for the dream. You wrote a check. She pulled her phone from her pocket, checked the screen, put it back. That's different. Different. $500,000. Different. I pulled out my phone. Muscle memory. Found Jordan's contact. Hit call. Vanessa watched me, eyebrow raised. Jordan answered on the 4th ring. Kitchen noise behind him, clattering, voices, the chaos of a working restaurant. Mama, I'm kind of in the middle. Your wife just told me the restaurant opened last week. Silence on the other end. Then, yeah, we meant to call. Meant to call? Jordan, I invested $500,000. Mama, listen. We can talk about this later. I'm slammed right now. I'm standing on your doorstep with champagne. The line went dead. Professional disconnect. The kind you give telemarketers. My son had just telemarketed me. I looked at Vanessa. She was already stepping back, hand on the door. You need to leave, she said. Voice cold now, sharp. I'm Jordan's mother. And this is Jordan's house. Our house. You're not welcome here right now. Not welcome. I paid for your dream, I wanted to say. I paid for this house. I paid for everything. But I didn't say that. Instead, I picked up my poster tube, looked at the champagne bottle, $70 of carbonated disappointment, and set it down on the porch. Tell Jordan he can drink this when he has time, I said quietly. Then I turned and walked back to my car. Behind me, the door closed. Not slammed, just closed. Firm. Final. I sat in my car for 20 minutes, parked on that quiet Beaumont street, watched the front door, waited for Jordan to come out, to apologize, to explain. He never came. At 4:37 p.m., I started the engine and drove home. Sunday morning, April 20th, 2026, 4 days after the champagne incident. I sat in the small office at the back of First Baptist Church on Northeast Alberta Street. The church where I'd been a member for 32 years. The church where Marcus and I got married, where we baptized both our children, where we held his funeral 3 years ago. Pastor William Thompson sat across from me in his old leather chair, 73 years old, with white hair, deep-set eyes, and the kind of voice that could soothe or shake you, depending on what you needed. He'd been my pastor for 3 decades. More than that, my friend, my confidant. Sister Rachel, he said gently, I see that look. What's weighing on your heart? I told him everything. No drama, no tears, just the facts. $500,000 invested in my son's restaurant 8 months ago, in August 2025. A promise of partnership, 20% ownership, he'd said. Legal documents to follow. The documents never came. Then the opening. Last Tuesday, April 8th. An opening I wasn't invited to because I wasn't among their closest people. Vanessa's coldness. Jordan hanging up on me. The shopping bags, 7 of them. Nordstrom, Saks, Neiman Marcus. When I finished, Pastor Thompson was quiet for a long moment. Sister Rachel, he finally said, this ain't about money, is it? I looked at him. What do you mean? I mean, you've made good money in your career, saved well. Marcus left you comfortable. $500,000. That hurt, but it didn't break you financially. He leaned forward. This is about respect, about being erased from your son's life, about being treated like you don't matter. I felt tears prick my eyes for the first time in 4 days. Yes, I whispered. What do you want to do about it? I want to know where my money went. I want to know why Jordan excluded me. I stopped. I want justice. Pastor Thompson nodded slowly. Justice. That's a righteous desire, sister. But tell me this. What's the difference between justice and revenge? I met his eyes. Justice is about truth and accountability. Revenge is about making someone suffer. And which one are you after? I didn't answer right away. Pastor Thompson pulled out his worn Bible, turned to Romans chapter 12, verse 19. Read aloud. Beloved, never avenge yourselves, but leave it to the wrath of God, for it is written, Vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord. He looked up at me. You hear that, sister? Vengeance belongs to the Lord, not to us. So I should do nothing? I didn't say that. He closed the Bible. I said vengeance isn't yours, but truth, documentation, accountability, those are different things. He leaned back in his chair. You're a filmmaker, Rachel. You've spent 40 years documenting truth, exposing lies, holding people accountable. That's your gift, your calling. Are you saying I should investigate my own son? I'm saying you should seek the truth, whatever that truth may be. But I'm also warning you, he held up one finger, that when you go looking for truth, you might not like what you find, and once you find it, you'll have to decide what to do with it. I thought about that, about truth, about what I might discover. Pastor, I said slowly, I need to know what happened to my money, not because I want it back, but because I need to know if my son lied to me from the beginning, or if his wife manipulated him. And if it's both, then I need to know that too. Pastor Thompson studied me for a long moment. Then he smiled, sad, understanding. Sister Rachel, I've known you for 32 years. I watched you raise those babies after Marcus was gone all day fighting for justice. I watched you work 3 jobs and still make every school play, every parent-teacher conference. I watched you survive losing the man you loved. He stood up slowly, joints creaking. You're one of the strongest women I know, so I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to remind you of 2 things. He walked around the desk, put his hand on my shoulder. First, the truth will set you free. John 8:32. Seek truth, sister. Always. He squeezed gently. Second, a soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Proverbs 15:1. When you find that truth, and you will find it, remember that how you use it matters as much as the truth itself. I nodded. Thank you, Pastor. One more thing. He walked me to the door. You remember that boy at 8 years old, making you breakfast? Burnt bacon and scrambled eggs? I smiled despite myself. I remember. That boy loved you. Still does, I'd wager. Don't forget that when things get hard. Whatever else is true, that's true too. I left the church feeling something I hadn't felt in 4 days. Not peace exactly, but purpose. Monday morning, April 21st, 2026, I sat at my desk in my home office, the converted second bedroom I'd claimed when Jordan moved out 30 years ago. Shelves lined with documentary DVDs, Emmy nomination certificates, old film equipment gathering dust. My laptop was open. I'd been at it since 6 a.m. 3 hours of research, public records, business filings, Oregon Secretary of State database. What I found made my hands shake. I opened a new document, started typing. Professional habit from 40 years of documentation. Write it down, make it real, preserve it. Harvest and Rye, LLC, Oregon Business Registry. Business type, Limited Liability Company, LLC. Registered date, August 15th, 2024. Registered agent, Jordan Winfield. Business address, 2847 SE Division Street, Portland, Oregon, 97214. Status, active members listed 1. Jordan Winfield, managing member 2. Vanessa Brooks Winfield, managing member. Additional members, none. Additional investors, none. Partnership agreements on file, none. I sat back in my chair. It creaked. Same sound it had made for 20 years. August 15th, 2024. Jordan had come to my house on August 23rd, 2024. I remembered the date exactly because it was the day before Maya's birthday. He'd asked to come over that Sunday afternoon. Brought a black leather portfolio. Business plan inside. 30 pages, professionally bound. Mama, he'd said, I've been working on this for 2 years. Every detail. Menu costs, labor projections, market analysis. The bank approved $300,000, but I need $500,000 more. He'd looked at me with those eyes. Same eyes that had looked up at me when he was 8 years old, serving burnt bacon with that huge smile. This isn't just a loan, Mama. This is partnership. You'd be an investor. Profit sharing. Official paperwork. Everything legal and clean. I'd believed him. Wrote the check that same day. $500,000. From my savings account at Wells Fargo on Northeast Broadway. Account number 4847291663. Check number 1847. Pay to the order of Jordan Winfield, not Harvest and Rye, LLC, not Winfield and Brooks Partnership. Jordan Winfield, personal. I'd asked about the paperwork. Next week, he'd said. I'm meeting with the business attorney Thursday. You'll be listed as founding partner. 20% ownership. The paperwork never came. And now I knew why. The LLC had been registered 8 days before he came to ask for money. 8 days. This wasn't spontaneous. This wasn't Vanessa manipulating Jordan later. This was premeditated. My son had registered a business, excluded his mother from the official documents, then come asking for $500,000 with promises of partnership he never intended to keep. I closed my laptop, sat in the quiet of my office. 40 years as a documentary filmmaker. 40 years exposing fraud, deception, broken promises. I'd never imagined I'd become one of the victims in my own story. Tuesday, April 22nd, 2026. I did something I never thought I'd do. I went to Harvest and Rye as a customer. The restaurant is on Southeast Division Street, in a converted warehouse space. Big windows, exposed brick, modern industrial aesthetic. Beautiful, actually. Jordan had good taste. Always did. I walked in at 6:30 p.m. Early for dinner crowd, but not suspiciously early. The hostess was young, 20-something, with bright red lipstick and a practiced smile. Just one? She asked. Just me, I said. She seated me at a corner table. Small, intimate, perfect for observation. I'd brought my messenger bag, the same worn leather bag I'd carried to 100 documentary shoots. Inside, my GoPro camera, small enough to fit in my palm, and a digital audio recorder disguised as a pen. Old habits. The waitress approached. Young woman, maybe 25. Name tag said Sarah. Brown hair pulled back, tired eyes that looked like they'd seen too much for her age. Can I start you with something to drink? She asked. Coffee, please. Black. She smiled, genuine this time. Restaurant just opened, right? How's it going? Her eyes slid away. Fine. Flat. Practiced. Menu's right there. A friend recommended this place, I lied smoothly. You like working here? She glanced toward the kitchen, then back to me, voice lower. It's a job. Not enthusiastic. I filed that away. I ordered the scallops. $28 for 3 scallops. $9 per scallop. But they were Jordan's signature dish. Pan-seared, with a lemon butter sauce he'd perfected over years. When they arrived, they were perfect. Seared beautifully. crust golden brown, insides just barely opaque. The sauce was bright, balanced, professional. My son was talented. No question about that. Too bad his talent came with a side of betrayal. I came back Wednesday. Same time, same section. Sarah was my waitress again. Thursday, same pattern. By Friday, Sarah recognized me. Brought coffee without asking. "You really like our food, huh?" she said, setting down the cup. "My son's the chef," I said quietly. "Jordan Winfield." Her expression shifted. Surprise, then something else. Sympathy? Concern? "You're his mom?" "Rachel," I said, extending my hand. She shook it. Her grip was firm. "Sarah Mitchell." "Can I ask you something, Sarah?" She glanced around. The restaurant was filling up, Friday night crowd. "Quick. How are things here? Really?" She hesitated, then quietly. "Tense. The owners fight a lot. About money, mostly." "Jordan and Vanessa?" "Yeah, she handles all the finances. He cooks. But I hear them sometimes when they think nobody's listening." She paused. "She's stressed about invoices, suppliers calling. Jordan doesn't seem to know how bad it is." "Does he know you're telling me this?" "He doesn't even know you've been here. He's in the kitchen all day. Vanessa's the one who works the floor." "Thank you," I said. She nodded, then hurried off to another table. I sat there drinking my coffee, watching the restaurant fill with people, and I started to understand. Jordan was in the kitchen, doing what he loved, creating, cooking, building his dream. Vanessa was handling everything else. The money, the people, the reality, and she was hiding that reality from him. Saturday morning, April 26th, 2026, 10 days after the Champagne incident. Portland Farmers Market on Southeast Yamhill. I showed up at 9 a.m. with a canvas shopping bag, browsed produce stands, and waited. Jordan arrived at 9:37 a.m. I timed it perfectly. I knew his routine. Saturday mornings he sourced fresh produce for the restaurant. He looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes, moving slowly, like every step hurt. He was examining a crate of organic arugula when I stepped up beside him. "That's good arugula," I said. "Terry's farm always has the best greens." He looked up, froze. "Mama, what are you doing here?" I held up my bag. "Same as you, shopping. I still eat, you know." His face, guilt, surprise, something else, something that looked like relief. "I used to come here every Saturday," I continued, picking up a bunch of radishes. "You'd help me pick produce, remember?" "I remember." His voice was soft. "You always bought me cookies." "From that bakery stand in the corner, chocolate chip." "You always said yes." I smiled. What kind of mama denies her baby cookies? For a moment we just stood there, mother and son. Farmers market sounds around us, vendors calling out deals, people laughing, normal Saturday morning life. Then Jordan broke the silence. "Mama, about the opening." I held up my hand. "How's the restaurant? Honestly?" His shoulders sagged. "Harder than expected. Money's tight. Suppliers want payment up front now." "All my money went into the business though, right? The full 500,000? He didn't hesitate. No pause. No tell. "Every penny. Vanessa shows me the books monthly. Equipment costs ran over. Licensing fees were higher than we thought. But it's all legitimate business expenses." I watched his face carefully. 40 years of filming people taught me how to read lies. Jordan wasn't lying. He believed what he was saying, which meant Vanessa was showing him false books. 2 sets, one for Jordan, one real. "Who handles the finances?" I asked, though I already knew. "Vanessa's better at that stuff. I'm the cook, she's the business mind." Business mind. Right. "Jordan," I said carefully, "about the opening. Vanessa told me you couldn't come, said you had a conflict." His face changed. Confusion, then realization, then horror. "She said what?" "She told me you were busy, that you couldn't make it. That's why I wasn't invited." "Mama, His voice cracked. "I brought champagne to your house that day. Vanessa answered the door, told me it already happened last Tuesday, that you only invited closest people." The lie was right there between us, clear, undeniable. Jordan set down the arugula, turned to face me fully. "She lied," he whispered. "Yes." What else did she lie about? I wanted to tell him everything. About the LLC registration. About the 8 days. about the debts I suspected but hadn't yet confirmed. But I held back, because if I told him now, he might not believe me. Might think I was just trying to turn him against his wife. He needed to discover it himself. "Jordan," I said gently, "I love you. Whatever's happening, we'll figure it out. But I need you to start asking questions. Look at the books yourself. Don't just trust what you're told. Can you do that for me?" He nodded slowly. "Mama, I'm sorry. About everything. About not checking with you. About believing her when she said you were too busy." I touched his arm. "We'll fix this, baby, but you have to be willing to see the truth." "I will," he said. "I promise." We finished shopping together, picked vegetables side by side like we used to, talked about small things, the weather, Maya's kids, the restaurant's best dishes. Normal conversation, normal Saturday, except everything was different now. As I walked back to my car, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. A text message. "Good job at the market. You planted the seed. Now watch it grow. But know this. When the truth comes out, Jordan will blame someone. Make sure it's not you." I stared at the screen. Typed back, "Who is this?" 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. "Someone who wants Jordan free. From Vanessa, and from you, too." I stood there in the parking lot, shopping bag in one hand, phone in the other. Someone was watching. Someone knew what I was doing. And whoever they were, they had their own agenda. Tuesday, April 29th, 2026, 7 a.m. I sat across from Detective James Rivera at a coffee shop on Hawthorne Boulevard. He was 42 years old, Latino, with sharp eyes and a weathered face that had seen too much. Former Portland Police Department, now private investigator. We'd worked together 7 years ago on a documentary about insurance fraud in Oregon. He owed me a favor. I was calling it in. "You want me to investigate your own son?" Rivera asked, stirring his espresso. "I want you to investigate where $500,000 went," I corrected. I slid a folder across the table. Inside, everything I'd gathered so far. LLC registration dated August 15th, 2024. My bank check dated August 23rd, 2024. 8 days difference. Screenshots of Vanessa's Instagram showing luxury purchases. Notes from my conversations with Sarah Mitchell. The waitress * audio recordings from my visits to the restaurant. Vanessa arguing on phone about a $23,000 supplier invoice. Rivera flipped through slowly. Professional. Thorough. "You did this yourself?" "I'm a documentary filmmaker. This is what I do." He looked up at me. "Rachel, I have to ask. What if I find something you don't want to know? What if your son's in on it?" I met his eyes. "Then at least I'll know the truth." He closed the folder. "This will cost you. Financial forensics, background checks, surveillance if needed. I'm looking at $3,500, half up front." I pulled out my checkbook, wrote a check for $1,750. Check number 1851. Wells Fargo account ending in 1663. "When do you start?" I asked. Rivera smiled. Small, professional. "Already did. Been running preliminary searches since you called yesterday. Your daughter-in-law has interesting spending habits." "How interesting?" "Multiple high-value purchases every week. Nordstrom charges on Tuesday mornings. Casino transactions. Golden Palace Casino online, almost daily. Small amounts, $50 to $200, but consistent." "Casino?" I felt my chest tighten. "Oh yeah, that's just from preliminary credit monitoring. Give me 72 hours for the full workup." "I need everything legal," I said. "Court admissible. Nothing that would get thrown out. I know how to do my job, Rachel." He stood up. 72 hours. I'll call you Friday evening." Rivera called exactly when promised. "I'm emailing you the report now. 47 pages. You're going to want to sit down." I was already at my laptop. The email arrived. Confidential_investigation _Vanessa_Brooks _050226.pdfi opened it with shaking hands. Executive summary. Page 2. Subject Vanessa Marie Brooks, née Winters. DOB, March 15, 1993. Age 33. SSN, redacted for privacy. Current address, 4738 NE Beaumont Street, Portland, OR 97213. Financial profile, Total outstanding debt, $127,438. Breakdown: credit cards, $56,000. Nordstrom card, $23,447.88. Maxed 45 days past due. Saks Fifth Avenue, $18,233.15. Maxed 30 days past due. Neiman Marcus, $14,318.97. Maxed current. Casino gambling debt, $43,291. 00 Golden Palace Casino Online, primary account. Transaction history, 487 deposits over 18 months. Average loss per month, $2,405. Personal loans, $18,147.00. Payday advance, quick cash, $8,500. Personal loan, lending tree, $9,647. Medical debt, collections, $10,000.00. Various medical providers, 2021 to 2023. Spending pattern analysis. Investigation tracked spending from September 2024 through April 2026. September 2024, $12,847 in luxury purchases. October 2024, $18,233 in luxury purchases. November 2024, $8,495 in luxury purchases. December 2024, $21,009 in luxury purchases. January 2025, $15,776 in luxury purchases. February 2025, $19,544 in luxury purchases. March 2025, $23,108 in luxury purchases. April 2025, $28,997 in luxury purchases. Total luxury spending, 8 months, $148,009. I stopped reading. Did the math in my head. I gave them $500,000 in late August 2024. Between September 2024 and April 2025, Vanessa spent $148,009 on personal luxury items and gambling. I kept reading. Analysis. Where did Rachel Winfield's $500,000 go? Based on business permit filings, equipment purchases, and vendor invoices cross-referenced with Harvest and Rye, LLC, legitimate restaurant expenses, $287,450. Kitchen equipment, $82,000, verified with suppliers. Build-out/renovation, $95,000, verified with contractor invoices. Licenses and permits, $18,450, verified with city records. Initial inventory, $47,000, verified with food suppliers. Marketing/design, $28,000, verified with contractors. Working capital, $17,000, verified through business account. Vanessa's personal debt payments, $149,832. Credit card debt reduction, pre-existing, $78,947. Casino debt payments, $43,885. Personal loan payments, $15,000. Medical debt settlement, $12,000. Luxury personal spending, $62,718. Designer clothing/accessories, $34,209. Spa/beauty treatments, $8,947. Fine dining, personal, not business, $12,337. Travel personal, $7,225. Total accounted for, $500. 000. I sat back, stared at the screen. Of my $500,000, only $287,450 went to the restaurant. Over $200,000, $212,550 to be exact, went to Vanessa's personal debts and luxury lifestyle. Jordan had no idea. I scrolled down to the next section. Instagram analysis. Cross-referencing Vanessa's Instagram posts with transaction dates reveals consistent pattern of posting luxury experiences same day as casino deposits or luxury purchases. Example 1, March 15th, 2025. Instagram post, treating myself diamond #self-care. Photo at expensive spa. March 15th, 2025. Golden Palace Casino deposit, $1,500. March 15th, 2025. Nordstrom purchase, $2,847. Example 2, April 3rd, 2025. Instagram post, living my best life star #blessed. April 3rd, 2025. Golden Palace Casino deposit, $2,200. April 3rd, 2025. Saks Fifth Avenue purchase, $3,115. The report went on, page after page, casino transaction logs, credit card statements, bank account movements, all documented, all verified, all real. My phone rang. Rivera. You read it? He asked. I'm on page 19, Pan. Keep reading. Page 23 has something you need to see. I flipped ahead. Page 23, additional findings. Premarital debt, history, Vanessa Brooks, maiden name Winters, entered marriage to Jordan Winfield with approximately $87,000 in existing debt, primarily from mother's medical bills, cancer treatment, 2019, $43,500, personal credit card debt, $28,900, student loans, $14,600, analysis, subject likely viewed marriage to Jordan Winfield, and subsequently Rachel Winfield's investment as opportunity to eliminate pre-existing debt burden. Gambling pattern. Gambling activity escalated significantly after miscarriage in June 2023. Medical records available upon request. Pattern suggests gambling as coping mechanism for emotional trauma, subsequently developing into clinical addiction. I stopped reading. Miscarriage. June 2023. Jordan had mentioned it once, briefly when it happened. They were 12 weeks along. Going to be a girl. I'd sent flowers. Offered to come down. Jordan said they needed space. I never pushed. Now I understood. Vanessa's gambling wasn't just greed. It was addiction, born from grief. That didn't excuse what she'd done, but it explained it. I kept reading through page 47. Every detail documented. Every transaction verified. Every number precise. When I finished, I called Rivera back. This is incredible work, I said. It's just facts, Rachel. Now you have to decide what to do with them. Does Jordan know about any of this? No evidence that he does. She's keeping 2 sets of books. Business books he sees, personal accounts he doesn't. Classic financial abuse pattern. Financial abuse? That's what we call it when one person in a relationship controls all the money and hides the truth from their partner. It's manipulation. Jordan's a victim too. I hung up and sat in the dark of my office. My son wasn't just a liar. He was being lied to. Wednesday, May 7th, 2026, 10:23 p.m. I sat at my kitchen table with a blank piece of printer paper in front of me. I'd driven to a FedEx office in Beaverton, 20 minutes outside my neighborhood, and printed the letter there. Wore gloves, used a public computer, paid cash. 40 years of documentary work taught me how to protect sources. This time, I was the source. I read what I'd written. To whom it may concern. R.E. Harvest and Rye Restaurant. Liquor license. Number 847-2024-PDX. I write to express concern about the financial stability and fitness of the above-referenced liquor license holder, located at 2847 S.E. Division Street, Portland, Oregon. Co-owner Vanessa Marie Brooks Winfield has significant undisclosed personal debts totaling $127,438 that may compromise the business's ability to maintain operations and meet financial obligations to the state. Specific concerns include $43,291 in gambling debt, Golden Palace Casino Online, $56,000 in maxed credit cards, some past due, multiple payday loans totaling $18,147, pattern of using business funds for personal expenses. Attached public records document these debts. Oregon Liquor Control Commission requires license holders to demonstrate financial responsibility and stability. Given the documented financial irregularities, I believe this warrants investigation. This concern is submitted in good faith to protect the integrity of Oregon's liquor licensing system. A concerned citizen, I'd attached copies of the public records Rivera had obtained. Credit reports, business filings, transaction summaries. All legal, all verifiable. Thursday morning, May 8th, I drove to a post office in Gresham, even farther from my neighborhood. Mailed the letter in a plain envelope, no return address. The OLCC would receive it Friday. Based on Rivera's contact there, they'd likely send an inspector within 3 business days. Probably Tuesday, May 13th. I drove home feeling something I hadn't felt in weeks. Not satisfaction, not revenge, just the cold certainty that truth was coming, whether we were ready or not. Tuesday, May 13th, 2026, 10:27 a.m. I parked across the street from Harvest and Rye. My car, a gray 2019 Toyota Camry, blended in perfectly with the Division Street traffic. I'd brought my camera equipment, Sony FS7 with telephoto lens, the same camera I'd used for dozens of documentaries, mounted on a tripod in my passenger seat, angled toward the restaurant's front entrance. Professional surveillance. At 10:31 a.m., a white Ford sedan pulled up. City vehicle plates. A woman in her mid-40s stepped out. Business casual, gray slacks, blue blazer, clipboard in hand. OLCC badge on a lanyard around her neck. Inspector Jennifer Walsh. I'd looked her up. She'd been with OLCC for 12 years, known for thorough investigations. She entered the restaurant. Through my telephoto lens, I watched. 10:34 a.m., Vanessa emerged from the back office. Body language confident at first. Welcoming smile, handshake. They sat at a table near the window. 10:38 a.m. Inspector pulled out documents, slid them across the table. I zoomed in. Couldn't read the documents, but I could read Vanessa's face. Her posture changed, stiffened. She picked up the papers. Her face went pale. 10:43 a.m. Vanessa stood up, walked toward the kitchen. Inspector followed. 10:45 a.m. Jordan appeared in the doorway, wiping his hands on a towel, confusion on his face. Through the service window, I could see all three of them in the kitchen. Inspector showing Jordan documents, Jordan reading. His expression, confusion to shock to horror. He looked at Vanessa. She was talking rapidly, hands gesturing, defensive body language. Jordan shook his head, backed away from her. 10:52 a.m. Inspector handed business cards to both of them, said something. Professional, formal. 10:55 a.m. Inspector left. Through my lens, I watched Jordan and Vanessa alone in the kitchen, face to face. The argument began. Even from across the street, I could see the intensity, arms waving, voices raised, though I couldn't hear words through the windows. At 11:03 a.m., Vanessa walked out, got in her car, drove away. Jordan stood in the kitchen alone. I put down my camera. It had started. That night, 11:47 p.m., my phone rang. Jordan. I answered immediately. "Mama?" His voice was wrecked, crying. "Baby, what's wrong?" "Everything. Everything's wrong." I heard him take a shaky breath. "An inspector came today, from the OLCC. She had documents, credit reports, bank statements, casino records." "Slow down," I said gently. "What did they show?" "Vanessa's in debt, Mama. $127,000 in debt. Credit cards maxed out. Gambling. She's been gambling online, for months, maybe years." "Oh, Jordan. She used your money." His voice broke completely. "The inspector showed me. $150,000 of your investment went to paying her debts, her personal debts." He was sobbing now, full body-shaking sobs. "I didn't know, Mama. I swear to God I didn't know. She showed me the books every month, equipment costs, permits, renovation. It all looked legitimate. I believe you, baby." "Do you?" The question was desperate. "Because right now I don't even believe myself. How could I not see it? How could I be so stupid?" "You're not stupid. You trusted your wife. That's not stupid. That's naive. That's what it is." He laughed bitterly. "She manipulated me, Mama, for months, maybe from the beginning. She lied about you not being able to come to the opening. She told me you said you were too busy." "I know." "You know?" His voice rose. "How long have you known?" I hesitated. "Since the farmer's market. When you told me she said I was busy." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because you needed to discover it yourself. If I'd told you, you might have thought I was just trying to turn you against her." Silence on the other end. Long, heavy. "Where are you?" I asked. "The restaurant. I'm sleeping here tonight. I can't face her right now." "Come to my house." "No, not yet. I need to think." "Jordan, Mama, I have to go." "Wait, one more thing." "What?" I love you, no matter what. That doesn't change. His voice cracked again. I don't deserve that. You're my son. Deserving doesn't enter into it. After we hung up, I sat in the dark. I'd gotten what I wanted. Jordan knew the truth. But looking at my phone, listening to the echo of my son crying, I felt no satisfaction. Only a deep, cold dread. Because this was just the beginning. Friday, May 16th, 2026. 3 days of silence from Jordan. No calls, no texts, no responses to my messages. I knew he was alive because I'd driven past the restaurant twice. Saw his car parked in back both times. Lights on in the kitchen late at night. My son was living in his restaurant, sleeping there, avoiding everyone. I sat in my home office, surrounded by 40 years of documentary equipment. Cameras, tripods, lighting rigs, editing software, hard drives full of truth. I made a decision. I was going to do what I'd done for 4 decades. Document the truth. I opened Final Cut Pro on my laptop. Created a new project folder. Harvest of Lies. Documentary. Target length. 28 minutes. Intended audience. TBD. Purpose. Truth. Inside, I created subfolders. Raw footage interviews. Financial documents. Timeline audio recordings. I started importing everything. Rivera's 47-page investigation report. LLC registration documents. My bank check image. Screenshots of Vanessa's Instagram audio recordings from the restaurant. Photos of the shopping bags. Then I started building the timeline. August 15th, 2024. LLC registered. Jordan and Vanessa only. August 23rd, 2024. Jordan asks Rachel for $500,000. August 23rd, 2024. Rachel writes check. No contract signed September 2024 to April 2025. Vanessa spends $148,009 on personal items. April 8th, 2026. Restaurant opens. Rachel not invited April 16th, 2026. Rachel discovers exclusion. May 13th, 2026. OLCC inspection. Truth revealed to Jordan clean. Linear. Devastating. I worked for 12 hours straight that Friday. Imported documents. Organized evidence. Started writing narration. Draft narration. Opening. My name is Rachel Winfield. I'm 62 years old. I've been making documentary films for 40 years. I've documented fraud, deception, broken promises. I've interviewed victims of financial crimes. I've exposed liars. I never imagined I'd become the subject of my own documentary. This is the story of how I invested $500,000 in my son's restaurant and how that money disappeared. This is the story of betrayal, manipulation, and the lies we tell the people we love. This is the story of how trust dies and how truth eventually wins. I sat back, read it again. It was good. Professional, compelling. It was also a weapon. Because if I finished this documentary, if I showed it publicly, there would be no going back. Jordan's reputation would be destroyed. Vanessa would be exposed. My family would implode. But it would be the truth. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Again. I see you're making a documentary. Interesting choice. But ask yourself, who are you really trying to destroy? Vanessa or Jordan? I typed back. Who is this? Someone who's been watching this whole time. Someone who knows you're not the hero of this story, Rachel. You're just another manipulator. You use truth as a weapon, just like Vanessa uses lies. My hands shook. I'm seeking justice. No, you're seeking revenge. There's a difference. Justice would be getting your money back, setting boundaries, helping Jordan heal. Revenge is destroying his life publicly. You don't know what you're talking about. Don't I? You sent that OLCC letter. You've been surveilling them. You're making a documentary without their consent. You're not documenting truth, Rachel. You're engineering destruction. I stared at my phone. Who are you? Someone who loves Jordan. Someone who sees what you're becoming. Someone who's going to stop you before you destroy him completely. The messages stopped. I sat in my office, documentary project open on my laptop, phone in my hand. Was the anonymous messenger right? Was I seeking justice or revenge? I looked at the evidence spread across my desk. The financial documents, the timeline, the proof of betrayal. All of it was true. But truth can be a weapon, and weapons destroy. I closed my laptop, went to my storage closet, Pulled out old family videos, VHS tapes I'd converted to digital years ago. Started watching. Jordan at 8 years old, standing on a stool at my kitchen counter, cracking eggs, missing the bowl, laughing. My voice off camera. "That's okay, baby. Try again." He tried again. Got it right. That smile. I'd forgotten that smile. Next video. Jordan at 15, holding a boom mic on one of my documentary shoots, trying to look professional. At lunch break. "Mama, how do you know you're telling the right story?" My answer. "You tell the truth. You show people as they really are. Good advice for exposing criminals. Terrible advice for treating your son." Another video. Jordan at 25, culinary school graduation. Me in the audience, camera running. When he crossed the stage, he looked directly at me, mouthed, "Thanks, Mama." I zoomed in, caught it perfectly. His gratitude, his pride, his love. When did that change? I turned off the videos, sat in the dark, cried for the first time since this all started. Because I realized something terrible. The anonymous messenger was right. I wasn't seeking justice. I was seeking revenge. I wanted Vanessa destroyed. I wanted Jordan to suffer for excluding me. I wanted everyone to know I'd been wronged. I wanted vindication more than I wanted reconciliation. And that made me no better than Vanessa. Maybe worse. Because I was doing it with the truth. And truth, weaponized, cuts deeper than any lie. Saturday, May 17th, 2026, 2:33 a.m. I couldn't sleep. I sat at my kitchen table with a cup of chamomile tea, staring at my phone. The documentary project was still on my laptop. 28 minutes of truth ready to destroy my son's life. I could finish it. I could show it. I could win. Or I could choose something else. Something harder. My phone buzzed. Jordan. A text message. "Mama, I know it's late, but I need to tell you something. About the LLC. About the registration date. I need to confess something. Can we talk tomorrow?" I stared at the message. Tomorrow. He wanted to tell me tomorrow, which meant he'd discovered it himself. The 8-day gap. The premeditation. My son was going to confess that he'd betrayed me from the beginning. I typed back. "Yes. Come to my house. 2 p.m. We'll talk." His response. "Thank you, Mama. I love you." I set down my phone. Tomorrow would be the hardest conversation of my life, because I'd have to decide, do I forgive or do I finish what I started? Sunday, May 18th, 2026, 2 p.m. Jordan sat on my living room couch, looking like he'd aged 5 years in 2 weeks. Unshaven. Dark circles under his eyes. His chef's whites replaced by an old Portland Trailblazers t-shirt I recognized from his college days. I sat across from him in Marcus's old armchair. The leather still carried his scent, even after 3 years. "Mama," Jordan started, then stopped, swallowed hard. "I need to tell you something. About the restaurant. About the LLC. I stayed quiet. Let him speak. "I found the business registry documents yesterday, looking through files, trying to understand where all the money went, and I saw the date." His hands were shaking. "August 15th, 2024. That's when Vanessa and I registered Harvest and Rye LLC, 8 days before I came to ask you for money." He looked up at me, eyes red. "I knew, Mama. When I came to your house on August 23rd, when I sat at your kitchen table with that business plan, when I promised you partnership, I already knew the LLC was registered, with just our names, not yours." The words hung between us. "Why?" My voice was steady, calm, even though my heart was breaking. "Because Vanessa said," he stopped himself. "No, I can't blame her. I made the choice." He stood up, started pacing. "She said if we put your name on the LLC, you'd have legal control, that you'd question every decision, that I'd never really own my own business. She said we could add you later, after things were established." "And you believed her?" "I wanted to believe her, because part of me," his voice cracked, "part of me wanted to prove I didn't need you, that I could do this on my own." He turned to face me. "But I did need you. I needed your money. So I came to you with lies wrapped in promises. 20% ownership, partnership, legal documents next week." Tears were streaming down his face now. "There was never going to be paperwork, was there?" I asked quietly. "I told myself there would be." I convinced myself it wasn't really lying because I'd fix it later. But every week that went by, it got harder to tell you the truth. And Vanessa kept saying you didn't need to know, that you gave us a gift, not an investment. He sank back onto the couch. Mama, I betrayed you. Not just by taking your money, I betrayed you by registering that LLC without you, by coming to your house and lying to your face, by letting you hug me while I knew I was deceiving you. He buried his face in his hands. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I sat there, watching my son fall apart. This was the moment I'd been working toward. The confession. The truth. I could destroy him now. Show him the documentary I'd been making. Tell him I'd been investigating him for weeks. Make him feel as betrayed as I felt. But looking at him, broken, honest, devastated, I realized something. Revenge would be easy. Forgiveness would be hard. And I was tired of easy. I stood up, walked over to the couch, sat down beside him. Jordan, look at me. He looked up, face wet with tears. I know about the LLC, I said. I found it 3 weeks ago. Oregon Business Registry, public record. His face went white. You knew? I've known for 3 weeks. I hired a private investigator, Detective James Rivera. He gave me a 47-page report on where my money went. I know about Vanessa's debts, the $127,000, the casino gambling, the shopping, all of it. Jordan stared at me. How long have you been investigating us? Since April 21st, 4 weeks. You knew everything, this whole time. Yes. Then why didn't you? Because you needed to discover it yourself, I said. If I'd told you, you would have defended her. Defended yourself. You wouldn't have believed me. I touched his hand. Baby, I was angry. So angry. I wanted revenge. I even started making a documentary about this. 28 minutes of evidence, ready to show the world how you betrayed me. His eyes widened. But then I watched old videos of you, as a child, as a teenager, at your graduation, and I remembered something Pastor Thompson told me, how you use truth matters as much as the truth itself. I squeezed his hand. You did betray me. That's true. The LLC registration, the lies, the exclusion from your opening, all true. And it hurt. It hurt more than I can say. Tears were running down my own face now. But you're also my son. My baby boy who made me breakfast with burnt bacon, who helped me carry equipment on documentary shoots, who called me after Marcus died and said, Mama, we're going to get through this together. I pulled him into a hug. I forgive you, Jordan. Not because you deserve it, but because I choose relationship over revenge. I choose you over being right. He sobbed into my shoulder, full body-shaking sobs. I don't deserve this, he whispered. No, I agreed. You don't. But forgiveness isn't about deserving. It's about love. We sat there for a long time, mother and son, broken but healing. Finally, Jordan pulled back, wiped his eyes. What about Vanessa? What happens now? That's between you and her. But Jordan, you need to know she has problems. Real problems. Gambling addiction. It's not an excuse for what she did, but it's an explanation. I know. We've been talking. She admitted everything. She's already moved out, back to her sister's place in Seattle. Are you divorcing? He nodded. Papers are being filed tomorrow. She didn't fight it. Actually, she seemed relieved. How do you feel? Lost, angry, betrayed. But also, he paused. Also grateful I found out now instead of 5 years from now. Smart boy. Even in pain, he could see silver linings. Monday, May 19th, 2026. Morning. The package arrived at 9:47 a.m. Manila envelope. Return address, Seattle, Washington. Inside, 4 handwritten pages on cream-colored stationery, neat cursive, and a check. I sat at my kitchen table and read, Dear Rachel, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't even deserve your time reading this. But I need you to know some things. I grew up poor, real poverty, the kind where you wear the same shoes until they have holes, where dinner is sometimes just bread and butter. When my mother got cancer in 2019, the medical debt buried us. $87,000. I was 26 years old, working 3 jobs, and still couldn't make a dent. When I met Jordan, I saw hope. Not just his money. I didn't even know about you yet. I saw kindness. Someone who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. I fell in love with him. Really loved him. But the debt never went away. It grew. Credit cards to pay medical bills. Loans to pay credit cards. The spiral only went down. Then in June 2023, we got pregnant, 12 weeks along. We were going to name her Rose, after my grandmother. We lost her at 14 weeks. The doctors called it spontaneous miscarriage, like it was random, like it didn't destroy me. I fell apart, stopped sleeping, stopped eating. Jordan tried to help, but I pushed him away. I was drowning, and I didn't know how to ask for a life preserver. That's when the gambling started. Just $50 on an online casino. I won $200. For 5 minutes, I felt something other than grief, so I played again. And again. Within 6 months, I was gambling almost every day. Small amounts at first, $50, $100. Then bigger, $500, $1,000. I told myself I'd stop when I won enough to pay off the medical debt. But addiction doesn't work that way. When you gave us $500,000, I saw a way out. Pay off the debts, start clean, be the person Jordan thought I was. But instead, I paid off some debts and created new ones. The gambling got worse. The shopping became compulsive. I was trying to fill a hole that money couldn't fill. I manipulated Jordan. I showed him fake books. I lied about expenses. I isolated him from you because I was jealous of your relationship. You were everything I wasn't. Strong, successful, confident. Every time he talked about you, I felt smaller. So I pushed you away, lied about the opening, made him think you were too busy to care. I'm not asking for sympathy. I did terrible things. I stole from you. I manipulated your son. I destroyed a family. But I need you to know, I'm not a monster. I'm a broken person who made terrible choices when I should have asked for help. I'm in therapy now, 3 times a week. I joined Gamblers Anonymous. I'm living with my sister in Seattle, working at a nonprofit that helps people with addiction. I'm paying off my debts slowly, honestly. The enclosed check is $2,500. It's the first installment. I'll send the same amount every month until I've repaid every dollar I took from you. At this rate, it will take me 7 years. But I'll do it. Please don't let your hatred for me destroy your relationship with Jordan. He loves you more than anything. He always has. I'm sorry I couldn't be the daughter-in-law you deserved. I'm sorry I hurt your son. I'm sorry I took your money. I'm just sorry. Vanessa, I set down the letter, looked at the check. $2,500. Check number 1001. A new checkbook. A new start. I folded the letter carefully, put it in my desk drawer. Then I called Jordan. Mama? I got a letter from Vanessa. Silence, then. She told me she was writing you. I told her not to expect a response. It was a good letter, I said. Honest, painful, real. She's trying, Mama. Really trying. Therapy, GA meetings. She got a job helping other people with addiction. I'm glad. Does this mean you forgive her? I thought about that. I accept her apology. Forgiveness. That will take time. But I understand now. She's not evil. She's human. Broken, but human. Thank you for saying that. Jordan, there's something I need to tell you. What? The OLCC inspection. The anonymous complaint that triggered it. Yeah? That was me. I sent the letter. I'm the one who exposed Vanessa's debts to the inspector. Long silence. You did that? Yes. I thought I was helping you see the truth, but I was hurting her, using truth as a weapon. Mama, I'm sorry, baby. I should have talked to you first. Instead, I went around you, manipulated the situation. I'm not much better than Vanessa in that regard. Another silence. Then Jordan laughed. Bitter, sad. So everyone manipulated everyone. Yes. What a family. What a family indeed. Tuesday, May 20th, 2026, evening. I was reviewing the documentary footage, deciding whether to delete it or save it, when my laptop pinged. Email from Maya. Subject, we need to talk. I opened it. Mama, I need to tell you something. Call me when you get this. Video chat. It's important. I love you. Maya. I called immediately. She answered on the first ring. Mama. Her face filled my screen. My daughter. 38 years old. Strong jaw, intelligent eyes. So much like her father. "What's wrong, baby?" She took a deep breath. "I'm the anonymous messenger." I stared at the screen. "What?" "The texts, the emails, the warnings. That was me." My mind reeled. You've been the one sending those messages? About Vanessa? About the investigation?" "Yes." "How? How did you even know?" "Because I've been watching, Mama. For months. Since Jordan first asked you for money, I had a bad feeling about Vanessa. So I did some digging. Public records, credit checks. I found the debts, the casino accounts, everything." She looked down. "I'm the one who sent you that first email. The one with Vanessa's information, her SSN, her debts. I pretended to be an anonymous source because I knew you wouldn't take it seriously if it came from me. You'd think I was just being overprotective of Jordan." "Maya, so I fed you information. Slowly, carefully. Enough to make you investigate, but not enough to make you suspicious about the source." She looked back up at me. "But then I watched what you were doing. The surveillance, the OLCC letter, the documentary. And I realized you weren't seeking justice anymore. You were seeking revenge." Tears were streaming down her face. "So I started sending warnings. Make sure Jordan doesn't blame you. You're as controlling as Vanessa. I was trying to wake you up, to make you see what you were becoming." I sat back, stunned. "Why? Why manipulate both of us?" "Because I love you both." Her voice broke. "Jordan needed to know about Vanessa, but you needed to see what revenge looks like. You were so focused on being right that you were about to destroy your relationship with your son." She wiped her eyes. "I wasn't trying to hurt you, Mama. I was trying to save you. Both of you." I thought about all those messages, the warnings, the cryptic statements. You said someone who loves Jordan, someone who wants him free. From Vanessa and from you, too. "Yes." "You think I was controlling him?" Maya hesitated. Then, "Not controlling, but, Mama, you've always had high expectations. For both of us. And we've spent our whole lives trying to live up to the great Rachel Winfield." She leaned forward. "Jordan registered that LLC without you because he wanted something that was his. Not because he didn't love you, because he needed to prove to himself he could do it." I felt like I'd been punched. I made him feel that way? Like he had to prove himself to me? "Not intentionally. You've been an amazing mother, the best, but your success, your awards, your documentaries, your reputation, it cast a long shadow." I closed my eyes. "Oh, God." "Mama, I'm not blaming you. I'm just explaining. We all played a part in this. Jordan with his lies, Vanessa with her manipulation, you with your investigation, and me with my scheming." She smiled sadly. "We're all guilty. We're all victims. We're all human. Baby, I'm sorry I manipulated you, but I'm not sorry I tried to save your relationship with Jordan, because that matters more than revenge, more than being right." I looked at my daughter, so wise, so much like Marcus. "When did you get so smart?" "I learned from watching you, Mama. You taught me that truth matters, but you also taught me, even if you forgot it yourself, that family matters more." We talked for another hour, about Jordan, about Vanessa, about forgiveness and pride, and the ways we hurt the people we love. When we hung up, I sat alone in my office. Then I opened the documentary project folder, selected all files, dragged them to the trash, clicked empty trash, confirmed deletion. The truth was documented in Rivera's report, in my notes, in my memory, but it didn't need to be weaponized. Some truths are for healing, not harming. 2.5 months later, Laurelhurst Park, Northeast Portland. 10 o'clock in the morning. I sat on the same bench where I'd taught Jordan to ride a bike when he was 6 years old. The wood was weathered now, carved with initials and declarations of love. Jordan arrived at 10:03, walking from the parking lot. He looked better, healthier, haircut, clean-shaven, wearing jeans and a Portland Timbers t-shirt. He sat on the opposite end of the bench, 3 feet between us. We both stared at the playground. Kids laughing, dogs barking, Saturday morning sounds. "Thanks for meeting me," he said. "Always, baby." Silence. Comfortable this time. Finally, Jordan spoke. "The restaurant closed last week. We couldn't make it work with all the debt, the bad publicity, the supplier issues. I heard. I'm sorry. Don't be. It needed to happen. He looked at me. I was in over my head, Mama. Even without Vanessa's problems, I wasn't ready to own a restaurant. You're a talented chef. Being a good cook doesn't make you a good businessman. I learned that the hard way. He pulled an envelope from his pocket, handed it to me. What's this? Divorce papers. Finalized yesterday. Also, he pointed to the envelope, there's a check in there. $10,000 from selling the restaurant equipment. I opened it. Check for $10,000. Jordan's personal account. I know it's not even close to what I owe you, but it's a start. I'm going to pay you back every dollar, Mama, even if it takes 20 years. I looked at the check, then at my son. Jordan, I don't want your money, but what I want is breakfast. Sunday mornings, you cooking, us talking, every week. Can you give me that? His eyes filled with tears. Mama, that's not enough. That's not fair to you. Fair and fair don't matter. What matters is, do we do this together, or do we keep punishing each other? I pulled a folder from my bag, handed it to him. What is this? Open it. He did. Read the documents inside. His eyes got wider and wider. This is a food cart lease, Alberta Street, equipment included. 6 months operating capital. He looked up at me. Mama, this is $30,000 worth of, it's your second chance. I can't accept this. Yes, you can, but there are conditions. He waited. Therapy, weekly, for at least 6 months, to process everything that happened. Okay. Financial counseling, you learn to manage money properly. Okay. Complete transparency. You show me your books every month, not because I don't trust you, but because trust needs to be rebuilt, with evidence. Okay? And Sunday breakfast, every week, no matter what. He smiled through tears. Okay. One more thing. What? The food cart's called Second Harvest, because everyone deserves a second chance. Jordan broke down, sobbing. I moved closer, put my arm around him. He leaned into me like he used to when he was small. Mama, I don't deserve this. You're right, you don't. But love isn't about deserving. It's about choosing. I choose you, baby. Every time. We sat there on that bench, the same bench where I'd taught him to ride a bike, where we'd fed ducks, where we'd had 1,000 ordinary moments that made up a life. Mama? His voice was small. Yes, baby? Can we start over? I kissed the top of his head. We already have. 6 months later, December 25th, 2026, Christmas morning. The food cart gleamed in the winter sun. Second Harvest painted in gold letters across the side. Small but beautiful. Jordan's dream, rebuilt from ashes. I arrived at 9 a.m. with Maya, her husband David, and their 2 kids, Emma, 6, and Marcus Jr., 4, named after his grandfather. Jordan was inside, prepping. Through the window, I watched him crack eggs into a bowl. Professional now. No spills, no burnt offerings. He saw us and came out, wiping his hands. Merry Christmas, Mama. Merry Christmas, baby. We hugged, real, long, healing. I made your favorite, he said. Scrambled eggs and bacon. Is the bacon burnt? I asked, smiling. Not this time, but, he grinned. I can burn it if you want, for old time's sake. I laughed, actually laughed. Perfect is fine. We sat at the small tables Jordan had set up outside the cart. Christmas morning in Portland. Cold but clear. Jordan brought out plates. Scrambled eggs, fluffy and perfect. Bacon, crispy but not burnt. Toast with strawberry jam. This is beautiful, son. Learned from the best. He sat down across from me. Mama, I need to tell you something. What's that? Vanessa sent her 5th payment yesterday. $2,500, like clockwork. She's kept every promise. I know. She sends me letters too. Updates on her therapy, her work with addiction recovery. Do you think... Jordan hesitated. Do you think she'll be okay? I think she's trying. That's all anyone can do. Maya raised her coffee cup. A toast to second chances. We all raised our cups. To second chances. Emma tugged on my sleeve. Grandma Rachel, can we feed the ducks after breakfast? We can, baby, just like I used to do with your Uncle Jordan. Marcus Jr. was already covered in jam. I like eggs. I looked around the table, my family, broken, healing, together. Jordan caught my eye, smiled. The same smile from when he was 8 years old, serving burnt bacon with pride. "Thank you, Mama," he said quietly. "For what?" "For choosing forgiveness. For giving me a second chance. For," his voice caught, "for still believing in me." I reached across the table, took his hand. "Baby, you're my son. I'll always believe in you, even when you don't believe in yourself." Pastor Thompson's words came back to me. How you use truth matters as much as the truth itself. I'd learned that lesson the hard way. I'd held truth like a weapon, ready to destroy, ready to be right more than I wanted to be a mother. But truth can also heal, when it's wrapped in love, when it's used to build instead of burn. Looking at Jordan across that table, healthy, working, healing, I knew I'd made the right choice. Revenge would have felt good for a day. Forgiveness felt good forever. Later that afternoon, I sat on my porch with a cup of coffee. My phone buzzed. Text from Pastor Thompson. "Merry Christmas, Sister Rachel. Proverbs 16:32. Whoever is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than he who takes a city. Proud of you," I smiled. Typed back, "Merry Christmas, Pastor. Thank you for showing me the way." Another text. Maya this time. "Mama, I'm proud of you. Love you to the moon." "Love you too, baby girl. One more." Jordan. "Sunday breakfast at my place tomorrow? I'll make your favorite." "Burnt bacon?" "If that's what you want, Mama. Whatever you want." I looked out at my neighborhood. Hawthorne Boulevard. The same street I'd lived on for 35 years. The same porch where I'd sat with Marcus, where I'd raised my babies, where I'd grieved and healed and learned and grown. I'm Rachel Winfield, 62 years old, documentary filmmaker, mother, grandmother, widow. I spent $500,000 on my son's restaurant and lost almost all of it. But I gained something more valuable. I learned that at 62 years old, you can still choose who you want to be. You can choose revenge or redemption, anger or forgiveness, being right or being family. Sometimes the greatest victory is the quietest one, not the standing ovation, not the vindication, just Sunday breakfast with your son, scrambled eggs and burnt bacon, coffee on the porch, grandchildren laughing, normal, simple, everything. I closed my eyes, felt the winter sun on my face, at peace. Finally, wonderfully, at peace.